slowly up the leaderboard, and today's going to be no different, and look to see him at the back end of today with maybe another couple of W's next to his name. 6 tests down already, and event 7 coming up right now.
40-point lead, not insurmountable. Noah Casey was your day 1 leader. A lot of moving and shaking can still happen here early on day 3. All right, what is a jump finish?
A jump finish, event 7. It's 5 rounds for time. We've got 6 muscle-ups, 3 back squats, and then once they've finished all of that work, they move over to a rather large box, which is 30 inches, and they're going to do that 30 times. That back squat sitting at 275 pounds for these young men.
13-minute time cap for this event. Dallin Pepper is your number 1 seed right now. He is in lane 10, puts him square in the middle of the floor, gives him an opportunity to look over each shoulder, behind, in front, see what the competition is doing. Vincent Ramirez in lane 7, always keep an eye on him. He is a champion previously in the teenage divisions. He won the 14 and 15-year-old group a couple of years back. He comes in 7th place. You see Noah Casey, your day 1 leader, is in lane 11. Dallin Pepper, cool and calm.
Absolutely, and when we spoke to him about 15 minutes ago, he was exactly the same and really looking forward to all 3 events today. But he said, especially for this one, he said, look out, it's going to be all guns blazing, so he won't be looking too far behind, but exactly what's in front of him, and it's going to be possibly another 100 points.
30 seconds.
They give you the 1-minute count and then the 30-second count, and you just see these athletes standing there. You're left in purgatory with your own thoughts.
You've been waiting so long to get started, and then you've got to wait another couple of minutes. But they're all primed and ready to go.
Stand by.
Underway on day 3 of competition, 6 ring muscle-ups. Jeremy, let's talk about what they are first and foremost, why they're difficult, and why obviously they're more difficult than a bar muscle-up.
Well, the muscle-up, it's a high-skill gymnastics movement that is utilized throughout CrossFit. What I want to see is making sure that these young men, they go unbroken on those muscle-ups. It was a high-skill movement at the start when CrossFit first came into play. They actually had a leaderboard for those that were capable of getting one single muscle up. You had to submit a video. I think the stage when I submitted mine, there was like 40 people on the CrossFit.com website. If they did it now, there'd be like millions of pages. But a high-school gymnastics movement that is utilized here. Elite gymnasts at Olympic Games level, they use this movement to get onto the apparatus. Correct. So not really that difficult for them, but we use it as a great test of gymnastics skill. And as expected, the number of athletes going through the unbroken muscle-ups, and the back squat's not going to bother them too much at all.
You see the movement of the chest piece there by Noah Casey as well. That big, tall, black block of foam. That moves forward section by section, both so you know where you are, you don't lose track. Obviously, you have a judge with you, but it just helps in the back of your mind. It also lets you see where everyone else is in the field, and it lets the fans know where everyone else is as they look across the floor. There's your current leader at this point, Caleb Goodman. Entered the day in 12th place out of Ashland, Virginia. We talked about him earlier in the week. Sun's out, guns out, CrossFit.
Speaking of sun, the sun has definitely come out this morning, and the arena presently is a little bit hotter than it has been over the last couple of days. Possibly could be a factor later on once things really start heating up as we get into the morning.
Well, and once you turn the lights on, there are spotlights on this floor. It is hot down there. People start to pack into the arena as well. There are a lot of fans at this juncture in the morning watching the teenage division compete. Casey on the left, Goodman on the right. Casey is in 2nd place both in the event and overall.
I really like the catch where Casey's hitting to the left. You'll see those elbows are tucked in nice and tight to the body. He'll pull through and suck those elbows in, just making sure his body is as close to those rings as possible, and that last rep, just a little bit of a struggle. So he's really pushing the boundary of fatigue with his body getting on top of the ring. So he's going to have to be careful on the next set when he comes through. He's probably going to go back to 2s instead of 3s, but just ensuring he gets that rest required before he heads back. And 3 back squat really isn't a rest.
Casey came in 40 points back of the leader, Dallin Pepper. So if he can come in first or second here, he can gain some ground. The only problem is that Pepper is on his heels in 3rd place, so the pickup will not wind up being all that great. Back to Goodman on the ring, muscle-ups. A game's rookie, Caleb Goodman. Said he's a big fan of Friends, who's not. He kind of envisioned the games being like the episode where Joey Tribbiani brings everyone to the rooftop party and they meet everyone from Days of Our Lives. It's all these people you see on television and you get to meet them in real life. The aura is gone though. He is in full competitive mode trying to pick up an event W.
He is, and one of my event keys coming into this was going unbroken on those muscle-ups. It's only 6. These guys got the capacity to do that, and Goodman's starting to break them up a little bit. Now that lead could diminish if he continues to break those up. The walk moving the chest piece, getting a little bit slower, but Goodman now finishing up with that, and now the 30 box jump overs.
It's a cash out on the 30 box jump overs. All you have to do is complete the 30. You don't have to do it multiple times, 10 at a time, advancing the box, where Dallin Pepper will head now. He has surpassed Casey, is now in 2nd place, and Goodman is trying to stave off his lead. Vincent Ramirez is also making a move off your screen as well to push the tempo, and so is Nicolo Coley down right next to Goodman. You can see him in the bottom right box. Now there's Ramirez on the left. Vincent Ramirez has passed Pepper. He's now in 2nd. Strategy is different for getting over the box as well. You do not have to face the box. You can go laterally over it. You see Goodman kind of takes a little bit of an angled jump, gives himself a chance to turn as he's getting down.
He's also jumping and not bending those knees too much. I've had a lot of leg fatigue over the last couple of days, so catching that as high as you can. Now Dallin Pepper doing the total opposite and catching it at the bottom of the squat, keeping that body height low.
Well, and basically making it one movement. He's not getting up, getting back down. It's just the box is an inhibitant in his way over.
Depending on how much fatigue you've got.
Ramirez is in though for the win. Fatigued, nada.
Ramirez, those are really fast box jumps.
Goodman with his best finish. 2nd place of these games. Nicolo Coley follows his best finish, a 3rd. Dallin Pepper is in 4th. Noah Casey's still out there. His deficit will grow between 1st and 2nd overall.
Ramirez with a 2nd event win, and that's going to propel him up that leaderboard with another 100 points.
This is a 13-minute time cap event. We are at 6:18. Does not appear as if the time cap will be an issue.
Not even half of it, maybe.
There's Casey. And you see him basically frog jumping the box here, similar to the way Dallin Pepper was going about it. Hand in the air to signify the last 5 box jumps as we go to push. And now Gutierrez, Benjamin Gutierrez, the Chilean, finishes. That is a 7th place spot for him. And his 5th in the top 10. And Casey now done. Nick Toonsey, there was always that point in these events where the floodgates open. You have your winner come across a 2nd, a 3rd, and then there's a smattering where 10 or 11 guys will crash the finish line in about a minute or so. That's an important minute because that's a lot of points up for grabs in a very small window.
We haven't really got time to blink. These young men moving so quick. Zach Mayer on screen is about half the size of that box. So we're talking about a rather large jump. The taller the athlete, the easier it's going to be. And that's like a full depth squat, even after he's done 100 dumbbell squats yesterday morning. But he's about to finish up in the background. Jay Carlisle in the white and pink, really struggling on those muscles and getting a no rep on the box.
Zach Mayer finishing up. It is a bigger box, too, than you would use on a day-to-day basis in your box back at home. The road box has a little bit of give, it's a little bit of cushion to it as well. But the size of it, the distance to travel over it, makes it a little bit more difficult.
Tig Lawless doing exactly what you mentioned about the springiness of the box and using that to his advantage as he comes over. I really like what Tig's doing there with that bounce at the top and not spending too much time at the top of the box. So once he got to those box jumps, he was sweet. A little bit slower on the cycle of the muscle up and a little bit fatigued, but those box jumps were really quick. Carlisle, now he seems to be in a little bit of bother with that leg fatigue. Doesn't look like he's moving well at all.
Games veteran making his second appearance.
And another one choosing to go that full depth squat at the top of the box and almost using that body weight to propel himself over the far side just to make things a little bit easier.
The grouping of his competitors around him, it just gives you that feel that they're pulling with you. And they pull him over the finish line as we close out in 9:30. Got a 13-minute time cap. That was no bother. Vincent Ramirez has picked himself up another event win.
Vincent Ramirez, as you mentioned, coming in 7th position overnight, but 100 points for him is going to propel him up into the top 5. But just so efficient. He's a former champ in the 14-15 division. But so focused from the get-go. One of my tips coming in was just getting those unbroken muscle-ups. But Goodman was our early leader, getting out to a really good start. He then started to break those muscle-ups up. Just had a little bit of fatigue starting to creep in with those elbows going really wide. Once he hit the box, though, things got a little bit slower. He's just resting a little bit top. But Ramirez, like a spring chicken bouncing over that box. Those last couple, no problem at all. And the sprint finish for 100 points and an event win. Great job, Vincent Ramirez.
He's down with Nikki.
So Vince, coming into today in 7th place, you mentioned you've been a little bit off your game. You're a former champ. What's been going on with you recently?
Well, throughout this whole year, I've been being challenged by injuries and everything. I was really worried about the basketball set. I broke my hip about 10 months ago, and I dislocated my knee and had jaw surgery twice. So this year's been the toughest year for me. So winning this event is a really big confidence booster. So hopefully I can go throughout the next 2 days with just good finishes and hopefully climb up the leaderboard.
A handful of events still left here. Considering your injuries, is there anything you're particularly concerned about?
Just anything that involves my hips, really. And I really wasn't able to train swimming this whole year because of injuries too. Like with the jaw surgery, I wasn't able to eat or go in water and try to swim. So hopefully I do mediocre in the swim next. Hopefully, I don't know.
Our fingers are crossed for you, and congrats on your recovery.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki. Congratulations to Vince. And sometimes that's how it works in CrossFit. You have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Listen, he picks up an event win, and then he says, hopefully I'll do mediocre in the next one. And I'll be able to hang around and keep myself in the mix so that I can set myself up for a strength later on. Vincent Ramirez, first place. Caleb Goodman, his best mark of the weekend.
And then Vincent saying he wanted to avoid stuff with his hips. He's just done a whole lot of box jump overs, which aren't going to be pleasant for his hips. But recovery should be okay, and he'll get a nice little paddle out in the swim later on today. But great result from Goodman also. And Dallin Pepper still hanging around in that 4th position, and he should stay at the top of the leaderboard. And Dylan Cade doing what he's got to do to stay in the top 5 also.
Noah Casey coming in 9th. He was 40 points back to start things, so he loses a little bit of ground on Dallin Pepper, who still will be your overall leader after event 7 here on Saturday. Day 3 in Badger Country. It's the capital of Wisconsin, Madison, and the host site of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. Day 3 of competition here on a beautiful Saturday inside the Age Group Pavilion at the Alliant Energy Center. Event number 7, the girls division, 16 and 17-year-olds. It's the jump finish. With Jeremy Austin, our expert from Down Under, Nikki Brazier down on the floor, Joel Cadet, glad to have you along with us. Glad you could spend the start of your Saturday with us. Jump finish is in store for a leaderboard that's been dominated by Haley Adams, the first competitor in the history of the age group divisions to outright win the first 6 events. No one has ever won the first 7 events, ties included. Haley Adams a chance to make history today with a massive lead of 174 points. All right, let's talk about the event that lies ahead of her. How can she do it? Jump finish. What is it?
A lot of work. 5 rounds of 6 muscle up, 3 back squats. After they finish all of that, they will then move and do 30 box jump overs. These ladies will do a 24-inch box. They will be back squatting 185 pounds, and their time cap is 13 minutes.
Lane assignments. Haley Adams is your leader. She is in lane 10. A chance to look up and down the field, square in the middle of the floor. Chloe Smith will be directly next to her in lane 9, the champion of the 14 and 15-year-old division a year ago. Kayla Stefano, the 2-time defending champ in this division last year and the 14 and 15-year-old bracket the year before, but she comes in with some work to do. She's chasing, though, Haley Adams. And in 2018, the CrossFit Games might be all about Haley Adams.
I know we've had an ongoing battle over the last couple of days of whether she will or won't get a clean sweep of every event, but she has got the chance now to put herself in the record books and put 700 points on that leaderboard. She wanted to come back and make a splash and not come second again, and she's doing all she needs to do to stay on top of that leaderboard.
Underway for the jump finish, event number 7. It starts with the muscle ups. How do you tackle it?
What I'd like to see these ladies is getting on and getting unbroken repetitions, not just on the muscle up, but also on the back squat. It's only 3 back squat, but 6 muscle ups is going to get fairly fatiguing. Now what this is going to do, it's going to cut down the number of transitions they're doing. Obviously jumping up to the rings each time and dropping down, it's going to cost a lot of seconds. They're just going to chew away slowly. So if you can rest enough and stay on top of the rings, get those muscle ups done, walk forward and get those 3 back squats done, it should be okay. Once they've done all that work, they're going to move down the floor. And the speed of the box jumps, we saw it in the previous division with Vincent Ramirez. He wasn't the first to the box, but he was first off. So those fast transition and using the spring off that foam box, really important to get through and get this event done as quick as possible.
You look at the swing of each of these athletes. Luisa Marquez is your leader right now on the left of your screen. Haley Adams is your overall leader on the right. Evaluate the swing and how much these young ladies float back and forth and how that impacts the movement.
With gymnastics at the Olympics, it's a lot of strict movement. So judges are looking for moving your body through time and space.
They're called the still rings. Yeah.
With movements such as this at the CrossFit Games, using your momentum is going to propel yourself forward as much as possible and make it just a little bit easier to get into that catch position. Athletes must move the chest piece up and down the floor, which gives us an idea of who's winning, and also give the people in the crowd an idea of what's happening and the positioning of the athletes. Marquez, I noticed on her last set of muscle up, she was catching it really wide, so there's elbows just flaring out just a little bit, and when she got to the 5th and 6th rep, she was really starting to struggle in the dip, and now she's starting to break them up.
Marquez has had a sneaky good week so far. Her best performance in her 3rd CrossFit Games. She was 8th in 2016, 12th a year ago in the younger division. She's just 16 years of age. Said she felt like she got in her way too much. She let her head get in the way, overthought things, pressed too much. She came into the day in 7th place, already has 3 top 5 finishes. Maybe adds another event win into that. Can start to move her way up into podium contention. Kayla Stefano in podium contention, 3rd place in the event, 2nd place overall, but that's a new spot for her. For more on Kayla, let's go to Nikki.
Yeah, you guys, even though it's a little bit about damage control at this point for Kayla Stefano, she's definitely not giving up and she's not losing heart. She just posted on her Instagram the other day that it's not over until it's over, and she will continue to fight to the very end. Now, remember, the former champ here is also about to graduate, and she'll continue to get her master's in engineering. So for her, it's about balancing her CrossFit training with her life and her future.
First off, let's just evaluate the last part of what Nikki just said right there. We are in the teenage 16 to 17-year-old division, and you did hear that right. She is about to graduate. Kayla Stefano will be a junior at Florida Atlantic University this coming fall. She skipped 8th grade. She went into college with enough credits to be a sophomore. So she's going to be a 19-year-old undergraduate, college graduate.
And the world at her feet. It's funny, you spoke about Marquez and that mental game. Kayla Stefano a little bit upset on the Wednesday, the first day of competition. The second event didn't go to plan, and she was physically upset. You could see what she was going through. But as Nikki mentioned, like getting your head together and getting these events back in your zone, really important because it is a very long weekend.
And Haley Adams moves that chess piece one final time before going back to the chalk and back up to the rings. Michaela Senkis now on to the squats. Luisa Marquez on the left has been at the top of this event all morning.
Senkis to the right, just getting those knees buckling in a little bit, so obviously under a little bit of fatigue, which is not going to bode well coming into 30 box jump overs.
Adams on your left, Stefano on the right. Just to finish up the point on Stefano as well, there's 2 things at play in why the standings are the way they are. Stefano did not have a good day 1, you mentioned. Had a 7th place and an 8th place finish. For all the times she's been to the CrossFit Games, this is her 3rd appearance. Those were her worst 2 finishes. Came back, did really well yesterday, had 3 top 5s. But Haley Adams has just been that good. So when you have the mixture of those 2 storms, that's what's created the situation. It's not that Stefano's had a bad week. Like, put this all in perspective. She's done well. The young lady on your left has been heralded with a crayon. She's drawn her own universe and played in it. Adams is the first to the box jumps because, of course
she's there. And not wasting any time. Now, I like what she's doing. She's obviously set up this strategy with the box jump overs. She's jumping to the front edge of the box, stepping to the far edge, dropping down and rebounding that spring. But she's just got it. Oh no, judge is just telling her to flip the box over. Thought it was a no rep. But she's got that strategy of jumping on, stepping across, dropping straight down to bounce straight back up. Really great strategy, but hot on her heels, doing exactly the same strategy to her right. Kayla Stefano.
You have to advance the box every 10 reps, hand going in the air to let Adams know. Stefano advancing her box. And Haley Adams finishes up with an event W. That's a record 7 for 7.
You did call it. You called it at the start of day one. She's going to do the clean sweep. What an impressive performance over a lot of different movements.
No one has ever won the first 7 games events ever. Stefano is in second. No one has ever swept the CrossFit Games in any division. Chloe Smith's a great athlete. Devin Kim is a great athlete, second place last year. Haley Adams is going to town in 2018.
And the clean sweep is quite possible coming in with 1.5 days left of competition. That is absolutely incredible what she has done.
The swim is the great equalizer. It is the next event as you get a look at Luisa Marquez, who was your early leader in this event. If Adams crushes the swim, certainly the doorway opens even further. But this is the perspective again, the consistency. Luisa Marquez, early on in this event, was the front runner. Haley Adams just hung back, and then when she made her move, she took it to the outside lane, she passed, she cuts back in front of you, and she takes the final furlong for the W.
And you mentioned yesterday she's changed her training regime of what she's done. Whatever she's done is obviously working for her. This girl has got a massive future as Marquez finishes. As you mentioned, Marquez doing so well in those early rounds. Muscle up's just starting to fatigue her a little bit as she got into the 4th and 5th round. And a number of the girls now starting to struggle a little.
This is where the muscle ups take their toll.
And that fast turnover, which we like to see in the catch of the muscle up, you get those a little bit slower, things go a little bit pear-shaped.
Serena Good, 17 years old, out of Ohio, came in 13th place on the left side of your screen. Games rookie. Got a no rep with Tori Dow and Faith Ferguson, who comes across in lane 13. 13-minute time cap. We are at 9:21. The young ladies are crushing this. Vincent Ramirez won for the boys, and the entire field was done at 9:30.
I'm loving what Serena Good is doing left of screen, and with the maroon and blue as she flips over after 15. The spring she is getting and the speed of this movement, one of my keys to getting a really good finish to this event, and she is doing just that, getting a really wide base with the bottom catch of that box jump over. That's awesome.
The spring in her step. This is from a young lady who was in a boot on her right foot 2 weeks before and after the age group online qualifier. Fought through it. Foot looks fine.
It looks okay to me.
You can see the lateral jumps at the bottom of your screen for Annalise Moore in lane 20. You don't have to face the box to get over top of it. You just have to get over top of it with a 2-foot jump.
Yeah, sometimes it's a visual awareness, spatial awareness thing. Some people can go to the front of the box. Some people have got a fear of the box. I know I used to. But those lateral jumps, they just make the transition from left to right side so much faster.
Miliana Juara in lane 1. Tessa Marquette with the muscle up in lane 2 to the left. Sophia Grimmer about to pop up onto the rings. Came into the day in 15th place. Did have 2 top 5 finishes yesterday, so got her games off to a slow start. And you just see the ring muscle ups taking their toll. It's the push once you get up top.
It's one thing to get your body on top of the rings. The second part of the movement is getting that tricep extension and extending those arms on top of the rings. So a lot of people can get into that ring muscle up position. They don't have the tricep strength to push themselves out of it. So it's not just this easy movement of getting, once you get on top of the rings, you've done all the work. That's only half the job.
Tessa Marquette out of Bradenton, Florida. Give a shout out to Bradenton.
I actually know where that is.
One of my old hometowns. It's got some of the best beaches in the world. Out of CrossFit LWR, CrossFit Lakewood Ranch, her home box. And again, you see that lateral jump onto the box for Tessa Marquette. And will advance it.
50 seconds remaining and 15 reps to go for Tessa Marquette.
It's funny how your brain switches off when your heart rate's at about 220 beats per minute. The judge telling you what to do, and it just didn't click in for a second.
This side of the box.
Go over here and then do that.
I only got 40 seconds. 30 seconds left before the time cap here. As Marquette tries to get into the clubhouse with now 19 seconds, hand in the air, coming down the stretch. On the box and across the line. Marquette finishes, and the field is complete. I stand correct, Myra Drabicki still on the muscle-ups. They were on split sides of the floor there.
There's a lot of athletes out here.
Yeah.
It's a very wide arena. Haley Adams, is there nothing this young lady cannot do? Tell you what, there's been a whole lot of different stuff come up over the last couple of days. Muscle ups, one of the high skill gymnastics movements that we do see in CrossFit. But our early leader, Marquez, that look of determination on her face, but slowly but surely, the Adams machine just keeps rolling on. And once she got onto those box jump overs, it didn't matter what Kayla Stefano did. Adams had enough of a lead to come over for a record 7th event win, 700 points on that leaderboard.
Haley Adams has another 100 points, and she has an interview with Nikki Brazier.
Well, we are looking at a record number of event wins here. And Haley, what would it mean for you to sweep this division?
Honestly, like, that's not the goal. I just want to stay consistent. So if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, then I'm completely okay with it too.
Consistently winning would be great. We've been calling the swim that's coming up, this open water swim, the great equalizer. How do you feel about it?
So I grew up swimming, high school swim team. I love to swim. It'll be a little different with everyone starting in the water at the same time, a little bloodbath, but I'm excited, so yeah.
Even though you've had a lot of swimming training, does open water change anything for you?
No, open water is different. You have to sight, but I'm ready for it, so yeah.
Great job here this morning.
Thank you, guys.
Great job from Haley Adams, and just when we thought the playing field was going to get leveled, she loves swimming. How about that, Joel?
Some perspective for you. Come on. The record coming in for all-time event wins in the teenage division, like you've been here multiple years, was 9. Haley Adams has 7 in 3 days. She's in first. Kayla Stefano is in second. Chloe Smith is in third. Devin Kim is in fourth. Those are actually your top 4 seeds, so you've got chalk in the jump finish event for the teenage girls division.
And a great battle for the podium positions at the end of tomorrow. But wow, very impressive performance from Haley Adams.
It rolls on. She can swim. Could be an interesting day of history. Haley Adams in front. Madison, Wisconsin is the site of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. Day 3 of competition in the H Group Pavilion. 6 events in the books. Event number 7 is the jump finish for the 35 to 39-year-old Masters division on the women's side. He's our friend from down under, Jeremy Austin. Nikki Brazier's down on the floor. Joel Godette, glad to have you along with us for this one. Jump finish is 5 rounds. We'll tell you what is involved for these young ladies coming up in a second. Anna Tobias with a 78-point advantage over the Swede Helena Falk. Keep an eye on Sam Briggs, who for the first time this weekend, Jeremy, makes our top 10 on the leaderboard.
She's probably really happy with that, considering she won an event. She was in 13th, but stayed in 13th after that event winning 100 points. Yeah. So getting into that top 10, I think the only way is up for young Samantha. I like how you said young. They are young ladies still. But Samantha Briggs on the way up that leaderboard, and I'm reckoning she's going to hit that top 3 by the end of tomorrow.
5 rounds. What do you got?
We've got 6 muscle-ups. We've got 3 back squats. Once they've completed all of that work, they're going to get into 30 box jump overs. Ladies are going to be squatting 185 pounds. They're going to be doing 24 inches over the box. They've got a 13-minute time cap, and I'm reckoning once Sam Briggs gets to that box, shut the gate because the event will be over.
Elena Simons, Anna Tobias in lane 9 as your leader. Helena Falk will be in lane 10. That is to Tobias's left. Standing right in the middle of the floor, she can look up and down and see her competition with a field of 18 women remaining. Anna Tobias, the United States Olympian, trying to become a CrossFit gold medalist as well.
She was just really happy when we spoke to her the other day. Coming into this event, and you know you've got a former games champ up against you. You've got to run your own race, but she's just been so dominant and very consistent at the top of that leaderboard through every single event. And the lady who's trying to chase her down, 2013 games champ, Sam Briggs.
Start things off with 6 ring muscle-ups. Unbroken as long as possible?
Well, that's one of my tips, is to come into this 6 muscle-ups. So for these, especially these individuals coming into this division, 6 muscle-ups should not be an issue. In saying that, Sam Briggs to the right of screen, with that elbow injury coming in, gonna have to see how she manages the fatigue on that elbow. So looking for unbroken reps on the muscle-up and the back squat. The 3 back squats should not be an issue at all. And once they do get to the box, really fast, efficient transitions over that box. Really important.
Quick rack of that weight for Tobias and for Briggs. You will advance the chest piece after each of the 5 rounds. And once you have completed advancing the chest piece, you will have reached the box that you'll jump over. It's a cash out, as Jeremy was talking about.
I really like what I'm seeing on screen with the body position of all of these athletes. they're getting their hips up really high to the rings. They're getting that hip position high means you can transition over a lot easier rather than pulling yourself all the way up. And perfect from Anna Tobias there, where your hips don't get to the rings, and you can see the struggle in the catch.
It was a fight early for Tobias here on the ring muscle ups,
which could be an issue later on. She does get those hips up. She makes that transition to the catch and then the press out, which we know she's very strong in that position, a lot easier. But it'll be interesting to see what happens now in the coming rounds for Anna Tobias, if she can maintain that hip position or if she's going to start breaking these up into smaller sets. She's going to add seconds to the transition and overall event.
Let's go down to Nikki.
You know, from down here on the floor, I can see her kind of yelling at her coach, trying to figure out how to attack the rest of this event. Should she break it up? When should she break it up? And her planning is crucial to her, especially considering how she trained for the games this year in general. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. She's trying to be an Olympic hopeful for 2020 back in the sailing division where we've seen her before. So now she's trying to balance her games training with training for that as well. Impressive to see her excelling on the floor.
Another round. Briggs, Bolt, and Holm working on the back squats.
That's Aaliyah Navarro. And the Whites, the leader at this point right now, came into the day in 10th place out of Valencia in Spain. Came in as the number 3 seed. And Jeremy, she's an interesting story because she's somebody that in 2015 actually tested positive at regionals in Europe, accepted the sanction from CrossFit for oxandrolone, an anabolic agent, did not appeal, and was suspended from CrossFit until the 2018 Open, but basically said, listen, I made a mistake, I owned up to it, it was the hardest 2 years of my life because I continued training, I continued participating in the sport of fitness, but I didn't have anything to train for. Well, this is what she was training for, a 2-year build-up, and you know she's geeked up to be back here, owning her mistake, accepting it, and trying to move past it.
It's like taking all your toys away and sitting in the corner for a little bit. But she is back, and she's one of our lighter athletes, which makes the muscle up so much easier to pull your body weight up over the top of the rings. Samantha Briggs to the bottom right of the screen, looking like that elbow is no trouble at all, really getting through these muscle-ups really quickly.
Well, and talk about the elbow with Briggs, an injury that could encumber her on muscle-ups. For Navarro, what led to the eventual suspension was an agent that she took to help her get back from an injury she sustained on the rings. She hurt her back doing ring muscle-ups, actually broke her spine in September of 2014, and it was in the recovery where her transgression happened. So for her to be able to attack this event again, where she previously got hurt, on the biggest stage, Elena Falk came in 2nd place overall.
Interesting to note, a number of athletes, Anna Tobias did it just a little while ago, resting at the bottom before they get on. So if you want to cut down your transition time, don't get on the rings early, don't exhaust yourself, sit at the bottom and wait, let those muscles recover just a little bit. Elena Falk doing a great job of that, splitting that